Welcome all. My name is Sayyed. I'm a principal consultant here at ZBI Academy. We are global leaders in training and consulting. Today, I'm going to walk you through a workshop which is to break a monolithic application into microservices. It's going to be really, really interesting. For the fact is, we will, in this particular workshop, implement from the very scratch, picking up a monolithic application, a very simple Node.js application, and uh, move that particular application, convert it into microservices. Let's look into the entire agenda. This workshop will involve working with Elastic Container Service, Docker, and EC2. And as I said that, what we're going to do is deploy a monolithic Node.js application to Docker container. We're going to decouple the application into microservices, and that's going to be without a downtime. This application, Node.js sample application, hosts a simple messaging board with threads and messages between users. Looking into the architecture of the application, with Monolithic, we have the entire Node.js application run in a container as a single service. And each container has same feature as all other containers and all. So meaning when you would want to scale and we have the spike in demand, it becomes really challenging. On the other hand, with microservices, each feature of this Node.js application is going to run as a separate service altogether, and which is on its own container. Uh, the services can scale and can be updated independently from the other altogether. So that's what the entire workshop looks like. We will start off with uh, you know starting with the setup there, uh, and let's get started. All right. So very quickly, I'm gonna get into the console there, and I'll talk about some of the prerequisites here before we get started here. Now, as I gave you a bit of a brief about the entire application architecture, a bit of an overview. So, excuse me. Uh, Now, what we will do is at the very first step, we will try to look into what are some of the um, you know setup steps. So we'll try to do the setup, and then we're gonna follow up with the instructions there. Now, some of the important things, as I said, that we're gonna be working on Docker, GitHub. Excuse me. We'll look into. We'll also have ECS, and we will have ECR, and few more services which we'll be using in this entire workshop. So to get started, we must have an AWS account. You're going to have the Docker installed. We must have a CLI, and we can use any text editor for that matter. All right. So I have everything been already configured and set up, and what you have to do is the very first step would be to download the code for this Node.js application from the GitHub. So I have the repository link there, and I'm going to use that, and which is where we will use this link to clone or download the repository altogether. So let's go about doing that. So first of all, let me actually open up the yeah. So I'm gonna have the Git on Windows. So what I'm gonna do is I would look into my present working directory, and I'm gonna make a directory there which is for uh, you know uh, microservices, or maybe microservice. So, and maybe AWS. So now I'm gonna get into this particular folder there, and then what I'm gonna do is uh, I'm gonna clone a repository. I already have the link for the repository, uh, which is where we have the code there. So I'm gonna do git clone. Sorry. paste the link for the repository there, and it's going to go ahead and start the cloning there. So now I'm going to do and look into the folder. Now it is downloaded the entire repository. Let me go ahead and do a get a status here. Sorry, let me just get into the repository itself. I'm going to do an ls to list the files there. I'm going to go ahead and do a get a status here just to cross check. We have nothing to commit there. Alright, so the repository is downloaded there. Now what you can do is, depending on different type of the IDE, maybe whatever you would want to use it. I'm going to use Visual Studio here, Visual Studio Code here, and what I'm going to do is populate the repository and open it up into Visual Studio Code. Right, so I'm gonna do this, and I would go ahead and open a folder here, and that's gonna be Microservices, and that's gonna be the folder. So I'm gonna open this up. Alright, so this is entire code base. Now this is basically where we have the the files related to the repository and all. So you're going to have db.json file, which is for the user data there. You're going to have index.js there, and you're going to have package.jsn, which is packaging your scripts together. You also have containerized microservices, which is for infrastructure. So you're going to also have this folder where you can see the infrastructure and services there. So you can also look into different services and all. You could also look into the Docker file, which will be using to build the images there, the containers there rather, and you also have services, and the services have these different files: db.json, the Docker file, and some of the other files, deploy.js, server.js, and whatnot. We also have microservices, and this is going to be something we're going to be using into the later stages there. So, all right, thank you.